Welcome to the One Piece chapter 1128 chapter review, the first chapter review on this new channel, One Piece versus Alice. So let's begin. This chapter was called RPG, which I assume is from role-playing game and not rocket-propelled grenade. Now I've got to say, I've been reading One Piece weekly for more than a decade now, and this has got to be one of the most bizarre starts to an arc that I have personally seen. Like, Whole Cake Island had a really weird start to that arc where, it just was very surreal and very bizarre, and this is similar to that, but I think that the overall arching mystery of what is going on here is a lot less straightforward than in Whole Cake, where it was just assumed it's got to be just some sort of bizarro devil fruit. But we knew that they were on Whole Cake Island in some sort of weird, surreal forest, right? Here, we have no idea where the crew is. We have no idea how they got there. We have no idea how they even got dressed the way they're dressed. Did Usopp grow an entire beard? How long has it been, We have no idea about any of that. Not the where, not the when, not the chronology, not the timeline. And after the last chapter, I was so confused about why is everything made of Lego blocks? Like, this is supposed to be Elbaf. Is Elbaf just a Lego island? Now it's making a lot more sense. So this area where the Straw Hats find themselves is some kind of Lego enclosure. Now, an enclosure for what, though? That's still a point of confusion, because at first I was thinking, oh, okay, so the giant rabbit, the giant cat, the bees, these are all pets that are being kept, and the people there are like the caretakers for the pets. The Straw Hats ran into one of them this chapter, and he's like, oh, I'm so busy, I don't even have time to talk to you. I have to take care of the Needle God, which was the hedgehog that Nami freaking electrocuted last chapter. And you're like, okay, so these guys take care of the pets, and the Sun God is just the owner of the pets. Okay, and I thought that tracked. But then we get towards the end of the chapter, Zoro making the comment about the plastic material of the Lego box and saying that the rabbit that they roasted up earlier smelled really bad. It must have been made of this same material. And Sanji's like, huh, yeah, that would explain all that plastic burning smell. And it's like, Sanji, my guy, like, you're a chef, okay? You're supposed to know about material science, right? Like, you should know, like, did you just serve plastic to the crew? Like, did they eat burnt plastic? I feel like this point was just sort of brought up as a joke, but not really, like, touched on. But, like, Sanji, what are you feeding to my guy Luffy? What are you feeding to the crew here? But at the same time, like, it really did seem like Elbaf. Like, everybody around them was dressed like Elbaf. There were giant animals all over the place. They were referring to the Yggdrasil tree. It seemed like Elbaf, but not Elbaf. And now I think in this chapter we have a little bit more clarity on that finally. So in these chapter reviews, I don't go in order. I just say what's the most hype thing that I want to talk about first, and in that case, it is the Sun God. When they first dropped his name last chapter as this is, oh, we have to alert the Sun God, I'm like, wait a minute, Sun God, that's Luffy, that's Nika. I mean, Luffy did go Gear 5 and go Nika Sun God mode in this chapter. But we got to talk about the Sun God, who is the god of this Lego enclosure area. First of all, incredible design. Like, this did not feel like a One Piece character. Again, like, it kind of felt like something out of, like, Dark Souls or Elden Ring or, like, 10,000 BC. It's like the shaman outfit with this big wizard staff of the sun. Like, this is the first indication to me of, like, Elbaf might be very different from One Piece's normal aesthetic, and I'm here for it. Like, this design of this character is awesome. And yes, before like anybody gets onto it, I know this is One Piece. He's gonna take off that really cool shaman mask, that like horse skull or whatever type of skull that is. He's gonna take it off. And his face is going to be goofy as hell. You already know. I mean, this is One Piece. There's going to be something goofy about this dude, okay? And his real name's not going to be the Sun God. Like, for the rest of the time in the story, once he removes that mask and tells us his real name, he's no longer going to be called the Sun God. He's no longer going to be as cool, like this sort of Norse Viking wizard guy. My guess for this dude is that this is Odin. There's a couple reasons I say that. One, I mean, this is the biggest giant I think we've seen in One Piece. I mean, I would want to see this guy in comparison with like San Juan Wolf, but like this kind of seems like the biggest guy we've seen in One Piece. So like if there's going to be a king of the giants who we know is Odin, then this seems like a prime candidate. I mean, I thought Odin would maybe be beefier, but maybe Thor's going to be the beefcake and Oda might be going with something that is more traditional to the Norse mythology, where Odin is sort of this master of arcane hidden knowledge and secrets, and he's just like this, more wizard, sagely type of guy. He's like this mysterious old man in a hooded cloak with missing an eye who can see all and knows all the secrets in the world. Like, and that this sun god might be that kind of an Odin, which I am 100% on board for. The other thing that makes me say that is that the caretaker guardians that guard his temple, which is just like his hobby room, apparently. Like he's got a little hobby room where he's got his Lego enclosure in it. And the guardians that guard that are like, there was the giant snake, there was the giant mice, and then there was the giant raven. And the raven had a name that was shouted by the sun god when he arrives, and Luffy and the Straw Hats are, they accidentally lit a fire in his hobby room and they're destroying all of his pets and his Lego enclosure. So he reminded me of that meme of Donald Glover walking into the room in Community, and it's just like with pizza boxes and like everything is just on fire and utter chaos. And like Luffy is that meme of the guy just in the burning room. This is fine, like laughing it up, having the time of his life. Like, I just love this dude Luffy, man. And when the sun god comes into the room and sees all this chaos, he sees his raven getting torched by fire. He's just like, Mugen! And in Norse mythology, Odin's ravens, he has two of them. One's called Munin and one's called Hugin. So if you combine them, you get Mugen. So this is like a clear reference to Odin's ravens. So it seems like this guy might be King Odin, and then we know that he's got a son, Prince Thor, that was supposed to be engaged to marry Big Mom's daughter Lola. And we know that canonically, Prince Thor of Elbaf is the only other dude in One Piece besides Gotti for whom this really does it for him. And the giant snake, he had a name too that seemed to be like derivative of Jormungandr, which is the giant world serpent in Ragnarok in Norse mythology. So I'm not sure the exact tweak for that one's name. Maybe if you guys caught that reference, you can let me know in the comments. But to me, it seemed, clearly Norse mythology inspired. I think that this is going to be revealed to be Odin, who's probably going to have some kind of goofy Oda One Piece trait to him. We'll see. And there were actually like so many good jokes this chapter, like carried through from last chapter. Last chapter introduced like an amazing meme format with Nami and Usopp, and this chapter continues the hits coming. I mean, I was laughing out loud several times. like when the caretaker guy that they ran into was like, "Don't go that road. Nobody who has ever gone that road has come back and lived to tell the tale." And Nami's just like, no, don't phrase it that way. Don't phrase it that way. And Luffy's like, what? I gotta go. And like, that got to me. But then, like, right after that, when Zoro was just like, rabid guardians, you say? It's just like, they're like, and Sanji calls him out, like, at this point, man, you and Luffy are just enabling each other to make the dumbest decisions for our crew imaginable. And like, yes, we support that. Also weird how that caretaker guy was the same, like roughly, I mean, he was a little bit bigger, but he was roughly the same size as the crew. So like, it didn't seem like he was really a full-blooded giant. So maybe the denizens of this Lego enclosure are just humans that the giant has captured and put into his little pet enclosure. But it still wouldn't explain why some of the pets would be made of Lego as well. I don't get that yet. Leave a comment if you think that you understand why the rabbit would have been made of Lego. And I also laughed aloud when, like the whole time this chapter, I thought that they were going to be doing the gag where you like see somebody in a distance and they're running at them and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and you realize they're a giant. Like I thought that we were going to be doing that multiple times this chapter, but like my expectations were subverted in ways that made me laugh like every time that happened, like with the grasshopper and like Sanji and Nami being like, gross, don't get closer to us. Or when Luffy is like, oh, there's some guy and he's dressed in Elbaf attire and he's running right at us, and then bam, it just like slams into his own reflection in the mirror. Like, that got to me. Like, this chapter was like hilarious, and like One Piece chapters normally are, but like this one even more so than normal. And I'm like a huge fan of these Elbaf outfits. I mean, these fits are fire. Like, what, probably the best outfits I've seen in a One Piece arc, maybe bar none, for most of the crew. Like, this is my favorite Sanji outfit. Dude is looking like he's, you know, about to play Elden Ring. Nami's, like, I mean, enough said, right? I mean, this is my favorite Nami outfit, enough said. We don't need to go any further. I cannot wait to see Robin. And then Luffy with the big Viking helmets. I mean, Luffy's outfit is just perfect. I'm a huge fan. Zoro's is the only one that I'm not sure about yet. Like, there are parts of it. I like the cape. I like the pauldrons. I like the boots. Like, there are cool parts to it, but then like it just doesn't come together quite right for me. Like with the glasses. I mean, I just feel like maybe Oda needs to hit his stride with getting the glasses to fit correctly on Zoro's face shape a little bit better, because like every time I'm seeing them, they're just like, there's just something a little bit off about those glasses, but maybe it'll grow on me. And then Usopp's, I'm just confused at. Is that a fake beard? Is that a real beard? What do you guys think? Real or fake? Like, how long have they been in this enclosure? Has Usopp just grown a beard and just has a beard now? Like, I'm not necessarily opposed to that. Like, what is the beard gate? What is this? We need answers. And I really want to know where the heck the rest of the crew is. Particularly, you know, I gotta see Robin's design. I'm curious about Frankie's Viking robot. And then, you know, Brook always has fire designs. So like, we gotta see the rest of the crew, right? And then like, what is Lilith doing this whole time? Is Lilith just gonna be like the Trafalgar Law of this arc, and she's just gonna be like added onto the crew for this arc until they find a place for her in the story? Like, very curious to see what Lilith will be up to in Elbaf, if this even is Elbaf. I mean, I think that that they're in Elbaf at this point. That's what it seemed to me with the ginormous scale of the room that they emerged in. I mean, they literally thought that the island was just an enclosure in a room in a castle in Elbaf. So like, what is the scale of Elbaf going to be like? I mean, we've seen other giants. They didn't seem this freaking huge before. So maybe Odin and his family are just on an entirely separate level. Maybe this is a castle in Yggdrasil. We will see. But guys, this was an amazing start to the arc. I am so beyond excited for Elbaf. Just a little bit about me. I love One Piece. It's my favorite manga. I've been reading it weekly for years. Die-hard fan. And honestly, Egghead Island, I think, was my favorite arc. So we are coming off of my favorite arc of One Piece, which I do not say lightly. I mean, Water 7, Enies Lobby, Impel Down, Marineford. I mean, there are like Sabaody Archipelago. There are amazing arcs in One Piece. And we are just coming off of one of the best to ever do it. If you guys couldn't tell, I'm a huge fan of science. And so just the future science, Egghead, Vegapunk, one of my favorite new characters in One Piece. So we are coming off of a massive high of one of my favorite arcs in One Piece. But we are going into an arc I am very excited for. I mean, I agree with Luffy. I think he said it best this chapter. This truly is a land that reeks of adventure. On this channel in the future, we will be doing chapter reviews like this every time that a chapter comes out. So subscribe if you're interested in that. But we're going to be doing more than that too. I'm going to be talking about power scaling of One Piece characters, and specifically one-on-one versus matchups. Might do tournaments as well, but I love talking about the unique powers in One Piece, how they match up for different characters, because this is just such a matchup intensive universe where you can't just say, oh, this guy's S tier, this guy's A tier, so he beats him every time. No, the matchups are really where the rubber meets the road in One Piece, and that's where some of the most interesting discussions can come about. So I'm going to be doing that as well as just overall theory crafting in One Piece. So if any of that sounds up your alley and you love One Piece as much as I do, please consider subscribing for more. Anyways, guys, until I see you in the next video, follow your dreams.